Y'all, if you're an avid consumer of Wiz content, you've probably started to hear the words Jewel audit thrown around. And today, I wanted to talk about everything we know about the upcoming Jewel audit. And the point of this video is to compile all the info that we've seen from statements made by devs on stream and also in the test drum Discord, and talk about the potential impact a change this big could have on the game. The VODs that I'm referencing are going to be linked in the description, but big time, the rationale for this is customizability and to also reduce the stat burden for certain schools. According to Ratbeard, one of the devs that works on this game, we're gonna be able to choose how many of each type of jewel we want based on the template that we choose. That would be drastically different than the way things work right now, right? Every theme, regardless of whether it's an offensive template like Aeon or maybe more of a utility template like the Hoon House set, right? This is just a random example that I have. Every single template that we have is the same, right? One tier jewel, two circle jewels, one triangle jewel. What we're gonna end up seeing is probably Aeon gear is gonna give maybe more circle jewels and more, you know, utility-centric themes, like maybe the Eternal theme, maybe the Skyfarer theme. Those templates are going to give more triangle jewels, maybe more, you know, square jewels. And with the choices of number of jewels, I think they're also going to standardize what each jewel will give. So it looks like everything that we know as normal with, you know, what a jewel ought to give is going to be a little bit different, right? So for example, circle jewels are going to be damage-centric, so while we associate them with pierce, it looks like they're also going to be giving damage. We're talking not flat damage, percent damage. Square sockets, which right now are really only known for stun resist and flat resist, they're going to be mitigation based. So we're going to see probably stats like HP on these instead of tier jewels. And also maybe stats like block, I would assume is a big one. Triangle jewels, which are currently already utility based because they give you accuracy and pip chance, are probably going to stay this way. But, you know, maybe we'll see item cards moved away from them. That seems to be where they're headed right now. Triangles are utilities, circles are offense, and squares are defense. You might be wondering what's going to happen to tier jewels, and it looks like it's going to be a very PvE type situation, right? It's looking like tier jewels are probably going to be used for things like mana, fishing luck, energy, like that type of stuff. Stuff that affects you in PvE, but really would not have that big of an impact in PvP. Now, you're probably wondering, right? Like, in PvP, let's say that you were to use, like, you know, extra circle jewels and just overload it on pierce. Would we be seeing setups where someone has, like, instead of, like, the 40 to 50 pierce that you normally see, 60 to 70? While that would have been the case before, right now, we actually have stat scaling in advanced content, and I think the timing of this is actually very much intentional. So for example, right, even if I were to get 60 pierce, if I were to level scale to max, my stats are capped at a certain level if I'm doing things like PvP, raids, any form of advanced content. While I haven't hit my pierce cap, let's say that I were to use another pierce jewel somehow, I would actually still only have 49 pierce because 49 pierce is the maximum that a adept can have. But having an extra circle jewel could help me reach my maximum damage, which is 179. So the effect on PvP and other forms of advanced content is that you're gonna have a lot more customizability in terms of how you reach those stat maxes. And in PvE, where there aren't any stat maxes, you might see every circle jewel being put towards damage and you want to maximize those. And right now I have a video on this channel that talks about a max damage setup of 220. We might see that number. Not only will that be very, very easy, at level 170, the stat maxes might actually be much higher because we'll have so much more access to damage. That could be kind of huge for PvE, right? We might see like our max damage go up to like 250 maybe even. So PvE is going to be more unrestrained craziness. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think. And honestly, you're going to see max damage setups require a little bit more effort, but they're going to be doing a lot more. That kind of stuff I think is pretty cool. I'm just going to be honest, pretty excited about it. But in advanced content, right, I think what we're going to really see, as the name of the game is, get your maximum pip chance, right? Get to 100. Get your accuracy up for the schools that you need to use, right? So in my example right here, as my death, I use a lot of storm stuff, a lot of, you know, like death stuff. You want your triangle jewels to accommodate for that. And then after that, you're only going to want square sockets because they're going to give a lot of HP. According to Ratbeard, we're going to see increases in HP in the range of thousands with these health jewels. Meaning if you were to give up a bunch of, you know, I don't know, utility, maybe accuracy on a life because you don't really need accuracy for a bunch of new square sockets that give HP, you can start raising what is already a very high stat, right? HP. You can start raising it by the thousands. To give you guys an idea of what the health situation is going to look like, it looks like there's about 1,500 HP worth of, you know, jewel health that will be available for Storm. and up to 2,000 for life. What that means is, really, is, you know, right now, we're looking at, you know, tier jewels giving 150 HP. We're probably going to be looking at much more than that, and they're going to be on square sockets. So themes and rings and decks that give square sockets are going to have way more value than they currently do. Now, while the choice between maybe like a Skyfarer theme, an Aeon theme, and an Eternal theme is clearly going to become a much more serious choice, and the customizability is really cool, I do think it's worth noting that now that means it's not just, you know, robes and like boots and stuff where the pin format is a little bit different. Now defensive sets on themes are going to be mad different, which means you have a real incentive as an endgame player to collect every theme, every ring, every amulet, every deck. And I think that could open up some issues, right? As they keep on adding templates, especially now that level 170 is going to be here, right? We're going to see a whole new set of templates. We're going to be seeing a need for every theme and every ring to be something that you want in your inventory, because you don't know what the jewel layout's going to look like, and you don't know which meta is going to favor which theme or which ring. And I think the problem that creates very quickly is the fact that all these packs that they're putting out with this gear, they already have super diluted drops, because right now you might just want one robe or one boot. Now you want everything from every pack if you want the best stat. You might be opening up packs for one theme. You might be opening up packs for one ring. Like, that is not something that you really do right now. You might do it a little bit for like things like pip chance, but that's going to be a thing with every pack. Every single template will have value. That's a big plus, but also think about the grind that that's going to create. I think the one real problem that I had with Novus, and now that Wallaroo's coming out, I think this is a very relevant conversation, is that I felt like the grind was simply too much for me, and that was for one gear template. Though the pity system, when it came to like making Eternal gear, was very nice, right? You just have an, like, if you have an Aeon piece, you can make an Eternal piece. That's cool and all. The actual crafting of the Aeon gear, I still think this is way too much, considering now we're going to be seeing themes and rings from all of these templates that we might be interested in. What that means, in my opinion, is that I think they have to dial back some of the time that you need for other templates at the very least. Maybe main world templates, if they want you to spend a lot of time in a new world, whatever. But a lot of the other templates, like, you know, Meyer gear, Skyfarer gear, Burrower gear, the amount of grinding you have to do to get stuff like themes and rings, it's too much. And I think they really need to deal with that if they're gonna make this much customizability available in things that we haven't seen this much customizability ever. So the point of the matter is, I think the grind for every piece of gear is going to increase, and I hope they handled that customizability with responsibility for the player's time. I can't wait to see what my stats are going to look like out of life, but if that means that I have to spend hours and hours extra with many different templates, I'm not sure that's something that I'm as happy about as I would be. As far as the actual, like, you know, value of these jewels, right? Already it looks like some of these are going to get major buffs. The effect of that much health increase on something like life on the meta, that's going to be serious, and I hope that's also accompanied by a real look into what strategies work on what schools. Like right now, right? You basically just use this spell on a life and you basically win. I'm obviously oversimplifying a little bit, but hidden heals are nuts, and if they're just going to add even more health to life, because you can basically, right? Like a life, you can give up every triangle socket on Earth, never think about something like dual schooling, and just have a bunch of square sockets, have a bunch of HP. They're incentivizing a lot of things here that I think, like, if you're going to raise health, there's other things that are also going to get affected that they need to look at as well. But other than the health issue, I'm actually not too worried. I mean, every other stat is pretty much capped. Really, is it going to be that serious if you get a ton of accuracy or a ton of damage or a ton of pierce? Not in game modes involving advanced content. All in all, when I hear the word audit, I think of things changing, and I think that's what a lot of people do, which is something that a lot of people probably aren't as comfortable with sometimes. But I think if they handle this right, this could be a really good update, and hopefully when they roll this out, they're open to feedback, especially when it comes to things like grind and stat imbalances. I hope I did a good job explaining this. It's obviously, you know, the big TLDR is the value of jewels are going to change. The type of jewels you can have on your gear is going to change based on the template you choose. All of that is really fun for the creative build makers out there, but it could also be a nightmare for the people that fear the grind. So I hope I express both sides of this. As always, I look forward to reading y'all's comments on this. Drop a like if you enjoyed. Leave a sub if you're new. And as always, if somebody hasn't told you you're awesome today, they doing something. I'll see y'all soon. I look forward to reading all y'all's comments. Stay awesome. And yeah.